verschillend zijn, dat kan een dynamiek.
Yes, being different can be dynamic, but it can also be dynamite. Especially at the beginning of our relationship, I experienced the difference between us as dynamite, but more and more it becomes dynamism. It's also a source of enrichment and a confrontation that encourages growth.
I would describe myself as a quiet person, someone who likes to think before he takes decisions, who certainly doesn't like to act impulsively.
Well, I react more spontaneously, so I don't always think before I speak or act, and afterwards I have to take the consequences, of course. Bart and I both work full-time. We have the same job, so we made an agreement to share the housework.
When Anne had cleaned, I would go and check to see if it had been done well. When I'd cooked, Anne would sometimes say, "Why didn't you do this or that? Cooking's not very professional." That created tensions between us because, all right, I had cooked and Anne had cleaned, but neither of us accepted the other's work as good enough. Everything had to be done in the best possible way, but which way was the best, eh? We realised that we each wanted to be right and we wanted to manipulate the other to do things our way.
To start with, we each stuck to our guns. We both wanted to be proved right, and we argued till we got tired of it.
Now, I try to look at the job she's done and not make comparisons with my way of working. I no longer ask myself if I would have done things differently or better. This is an agreement that has brought peace. The decision to buy a house has been a very long process.
Well, for me, a house means first and foremost a safe home, a secure haven.
I wanted to be able to see the direction in which our lives were going. Might we have to pack up and move elsewhere at some stage? I was really scared of tying myself down. To me, a house meant inflexibility. I'm really grateful to Anne for having patience with me at the time because she saw the dream so differently.
When we make a decision, we adopt the pace of the slowest one. We never push the other to do something we can't both agree to. In the case of the house, it meant that we took our time. Compared with other couples in similar situations to ours, we've been slow in coming to decisions. Decisions were made when we were both ready to take them.
We certainly won't decide anything because of pressure from other people or because of public opinion. We want to find what is really right for us, working from our personal experience. Sometimes we use little notebooks in which we jot down our thoughts to enable us to get in touch with our gut feelings. And then we start talking.
It's very important for me that I'm allowed to show my feelings and to give my opinion. And then for both of us to balance those two opinions, Bart's and mine, giving them equal worth without being in any way influenced by immediate reactions.
Then we start a sort of process. I'd like to describe it as a face-to-face consultation. First, we feel that we clash, that my opinion is different from hers, that my experience is quite the opposite of hers. Then we start to search for alternatives. I wouldn't call them compromises. A compromise to me is something like diluting wine with water until in the end only water is left. No, it's more a search, something creative. Let's look for something new so that we both of us win this duel. We'd already given our first son a name. Our first son would be called Jonathan.
I remember well, it was in our little igloo tent when I told him that another month had gone by and there was nothing doing on the baby front. He just came and sat next to me. He listened and expressed his fear and sadness about it.
I'd always seen Anne as the mother of my children. Now I realised that something was badly wrong, that everything was being called into question. I thought, oh no, will we be able to cope with this? When the doctor confirmed that I might not be able to have children, it was enormously threatening. That dream of having children was so deep in us. My first reflection was, I'm not a man anymore. And Anne, for her part, said she felt she was no longer a woman. I felt deeply ashamed. I felt as if I had to get away. Nobody must know anything about it, because it was all so humiliating.
In the beginning, it was difficult for me to face children, and certainly little children, babies. It was years before I could go to a maternity hospital to visit a friend or a family member, cousin, someone else who'd had a baby. In fact, I haven't done so for years. The medical trials we went through put a strain on our relationship. We were put under very heavy pressure because suddenly science decided instead of us when we should make love and when we should not. It was really a time when we needed to be there for one another, to support each other. And yet part of the communication between us was disrupted because of the days that lovemaking wasn't allowed.
I had the feeling we put our lives in the balance. All our hope was in the hands of those doctors. The desire to be fertile was very strong. It coloured our friendships. We wanted to talk things through with people with the same problem, and we discussed it together. Where do you feel yourself having been fertile? Where did I feel myself a father today? Where did you feel yourself a mother today? Fertility, we found, is not just having physical children. After some time, we decided that the medical way out was not right for us. We really don't want to pass judgment on other couples who have a child by medical intervention and who have faith in that procedure. For us, at that moment, it didn't seem the right way forward.
When we got married, our dream had been to give birth to children out of our love. As it was not to be, the question arose, what then is the purpose of our relationship? And it led me to question the meaning of my life.
On one occasion, we had a talk about our love for one another and about how our childlessness affected it. I suddenly felt a great anguish. You say you love me, and you would have chosen to marry me, even if you'd known this in advance, I said to her, but I don't believe you.
Dat is geen beer? Geen beer.
Anne said to me, yeah, I really mean what I say. I was shaken because I felt as though someone was pouring cold water on my joy, and I thought, who am I that I can't accept this gift that is being offered to me? Someone is saying, yes, in spite of all your limitations, I still love you. Then we sought out a little chapel in our neighbourhood. We went inside and, perhaps it sounds stupid, but we renewed our marriage vows. It was totally different from the first time.
I felt very strongly inside me that Bart was still the right choice for me in spite of the pain that's come with the choice. That helped a lot. It released energy for us to go on further together and to put a chapter of doubt and hesitation behind us. We decided to seek positively for a life that would be fertile in another way. We try to go to church services as much as possible. We've searched for a celebration where we can really feel at home, where they reflect on the Word of God and where beautiful songs are sung by a good choir. For me, it's a regular moment of meditation that I really look forward to.
In other churches, I miss the sense of community, of contact with all those other believers who are there. By sitting in a circle, we're able to see 3/4 of the people and watch the service easily.
Mass means looking back on Jesus' life and on what's written in the Bible. But I try then also to apply this to my own life, to see what I can make of it. We're also very happy with our 2 groups of young people who want their beliefs to underpin their way of living. This is like a precious gift of gold presented to us, to be able to walk alongside other young people searching for a way to make our faith the foundation of our lives. We're all asking, how do I make my life meaningful? Where do I want to go with my life?
We don't want to forget the son we dreamt of. We want to remember him. So we bought a statuette which stands here on our table. A statuette with open hands and a child cradled in them. For us, that's a sign, and our friends know this, of our desire for children. It stands here, in the centre of our living room. It's a focal point. It's not something we've left behind. We go on living with our desire for children, but we have to find other ways of fulfilling that dream.